All right, guys, Thursday, hitting some upper body work today, specifically some overhead strength and stability work. I am going to demonstrate something that's going to be in the warm up. It's going to be the push up back to down dog. I think that's probably pretty self explanatory, but I want to make sure I put it out there just in case we're not familiar with those terms. Once we are done with that, we're going to go into the strength, which is going to be 5 rounds of 6 to 8 dumbbell Z press. 6 to 8 refers to the max rep range for the weight, so to speak, that I would like you guys to fall into. So if you have multiple weights, try and pick the one that will allow you to kind of max out between 6 and 8. If you don't, if you only have super lightweight and there's nothing else we can use, even if it's a barbell instead of dumbbells, then let's try and increase the rep range and work from there. So 6 to 8 dumbbell Z press, followed immediately by 20 band pull aparts at the chest. Stay seated on your butts when you guys hit those, and then there's going to be a rest in between, anywhere from a minute to a minute and a half after the band pull aparts before you go back to that next round of Z press. Again, it's 5 rounds. Now, second piece of work today is going to be a quality control, so not for time, so to speak. We're going to do 5 rounds of this. The first one is one wall climb into 20 tuck crunches into a 100-foot single arm overhead carry, right side, and then a 100-foot left side, and then a minute rest. The minute rest is required. The 3 movements you just performed, 1 rep, 20 reps, and then 100 and 100, is for quality, not necessarily for time. So I don't want you guys rushing through that, fighting the sloppy bug just to get some speed, okay? Now, the next 4 rounds are the same, except the wall climb increases in reps. So second round is 2, third round is 3, fourth round is 4, and the fifth round is 5. So it's 1, 20, 100, 100, rest, 2, 20, 100, 100, rest, 3, 20, 100, 100, rest, etc., etc. Stick around. I'll be heading out to the garage to demonstrate these if you're not sure what's going on. All right, guys, first thing we're going over today is that warm-up piece, the push-up to the down dog. All we're really looking at here is starting ourselves in a regular push-up position, taking our chest down to the ground as we press up, pressing up and back into more of an overhead type position where we're going to clear the shoulder blades through and get some tension in the traps. Alright, so I'm down in my seated position for the Z press. If you have not done these before, the point of the Z press is to force you into a position where you cannot compensate with an arch of the spine for overhead mobility, flexibility, and strength positions. So my legs are straight, open, obviously, 90 degrees is what I'm looking for here. Legs are flat on the ground. I'm going to take the dumbbells, get them over my shoulders in a solid pressing position, so not completely open but not completely closed. And as I go through and press that range of motion, I'm trying to keep them stacked over the top of the shoulders. If I end up out in front a little bit, that's fine, as long as I'm not breaking down and trying to compensate. If that is my end range of motion right now, that is my end range of motion. Goal, remember, for the dumbbells here, or kettlebells, or barbell, if we have to modify it that way, is to get 6 to 8 reps in a fatigue failure kind of range. So if we have to increase the reps because the weights are super light, like these are 15s, so I'd probably be looking at somewhere between 12 and 15 reps. That is fine. From there, I grab my band nice and slowly and steadily, pulling the shoulder blades back together, flexing that band apart, 20 of those reps before a minute and a half rest. So back to back on the Z press and the band pull aparts. Alright, it's fun you guys around a little bit here so you can get a better angle at this wall climb and then the tuck crunches. So remember, first round is 1 climb, second round is 2, etc., etc., to the fifth round is 5, and that's the last one. On the wall climbs, I have my hat on this way so you guys can see. My goal is to touch the brim of the hat to the wall, so
So I'm gonna start nice and flat. Now there is a little drop here where my toes are at, that's why it looks like they're lower than my body. From there, I'm gonna press up and back, get an extension. Walk on my hands back to the wall, tap the brim of the hat, and then come back down until I'm flat on the ground. 1 rep. Now here, popping over into my tuck crunches, which will look a lot like a modified version of a V-up. Remember, and this is an important goal, the bottom position on this is a hollow position. From there, contract, come together, extend out, together, extend out. But even as I extend out, the goal is to maintain that hollow position. So at no point are we ever really releasing tension from the core. And finally, I am off into the dumbbell or kettlebell overhead walk, where essentially I have it marked out, so 50 feet down and 50 feet back before I switch arms, get the next one. Tuck crunches stay at 20, carries stay at 100 feet each side. The wall climbs, remember 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Stay tuned for movement modifications.
Alright, let's quickly go over some modifications today. So on that push-up warm-up, we can always do that from our knees if we need to. Push up into the down dog extension overhead. On the Z-press, we talked about that. If it needs to be a bar, it can be a bar. If I need to put a band under my butt, bring it around, press overhead, I can do it that way. Pretty much anything we can press. If we only have one weight, we can do that one side and then the other side. Just keep in mind the unilateral rules of trying to do that weaker side first. Band pull aparts, if we can't do a pull apart because we don't have a band, if you have light weights or even no weight or even something you can hold in your hands, stand up, take yourself in a hinging position, rotate those thumbs open and back, and do reverse flies. Big one, wall climbs. What happens if I can't get that brim up there? Well, there's a couple things we can do. We can take ourselves up onto the wall and try and hold that position for a few seconds. Or, if we're incapable of doing that altogether, we can walk ourselves back and then walk ourselves back out to the ground. Tuck crunch, we can always do a sit-up. If we need to modify it that way, we can stay in a hollow hold if that is a particular weakness of ours. If we are not somebody that can do an overhead hold, even with lightweight and walk with it, I want you to let me know, because I'm going to give you a different kind of modification, and there's potential there that we might need to change some of the other stuff in today's workout.